Hi, everyone. Welcome to Live with BLAYNE, your weekly connection to people, brands, and businesses. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you haven't already, keep your notifications locked to Realish Radio for all of the vlogs, videos, and content that we have coming your way. Today, we have actually our second international guest. We had our first international guest a couple months ago, Filson Ali. She was in Sweden. Today's guest is Rita Lutterodt. She is in the Netherlands, and I'm going to bring her on in a second. But Rita left New York to move overseas, and during that time, she kind of went through some changes within herself and decided to launch a brand called Live, Laugh, Learn, and Lean In. She's in the very beginning stages of her brand, so I thought it was a really good time to bring her on so she can kind of take us on this journey, which means she will be a repeat guest. So we can't wait to talk to her now and then have her back again. So I'm going to have Rita come on right now.
Hi. Hi, everyone. Hi, BLAYNE.
Hi, Rita. Yes, and thank you for being here because there's a time difference. Rita is 7 hours ahead. 6 hours ahead.
Yes.
So I'm so happy that you were able to make it. And if you watch my show, you know, I always like to say how I know my guests. So Rita and I have yet to meet in person, but that's in the works. But we share a mutual friend, my near and dear friend, Kendra Wilson, who is my high school BFF, and she knows Rita. And she contacted me and was like, I think that my friend Rita would be a good person for you to talk to. She's just cool. And the first time we spoke, we were like, oh my God, we need 5 more hours to talk about stuff. We were like, we need a lot more time.
It was a natural connection. I love it. I love it.
Yes. And then I was like, okay, but you have a story. So we got to talk about the story on the show. So let's start out with you leaving New York to move to the Netherlands of all places. Like I hear people move to England. And so how did you wind up in the Netherlands?
So funny story, right? Well, I always wanted to live in Europe, right? So in my 20s, it was always my goal to live in Europe. So I worked with a lot of global companies and they had offices abroad, and it's for whatever reason, never really panned out. So one of my previous managers, we were working together at a company. I was based in New York. She was based in London. She ended up leaving and procuring a job in the Netherlands. And she's like, look, I know it's always been your passion. This is your time. Like, come on. And I'm like, you know, the universe is so funny because 10 years ago, I was trying to be in Europe and I just put it out of my mind and all of a sudden the opportunity was just there. And I've never been to the Netherlands before at that point. I've been to other places in Europe, but never in Netherlands. I had family here, people I knew here. So I was like, okay, you know, let me try it out. Let me go for the interview and see if it works. If it works, I'll do it. So I interviewed, the vibes were well with the people I interviewed with. It seemed like the right fit for me. And I packed 2 suitcases and got on a flight. And next thing you know, I was in the Netherlands.
Oh my, only 2 suitcases? That's amazing.
Can you imagine? 2 huge suitcases. That's it. That's all I packed. I had so much stuff. And I was like, I'll have time. I'll come back to New York. No, it took me about 1.5 years before I actually went back to New York after I first moved. Yeah, 2 suitcases.
And so, you know, like I said, the Netherlands, not that it's not a cool place, but it's just not a destination that I feel like we always hear about when we're thinking of vacations and moving. So since you've been there, how do you think you've adjusted?
Well, the cool thing about the Netherlands is majority, I would say about 80 to 90% of the people speak English, and they're happy to speak English or practice their English. So depending on what city you're in, if you're in a large city, everybody you encounter, they all speak English. So they made it really easy for me to adjust with just, you know, getting by. So for me, I never had any issues adjusting anywhere when I traveled. I love to travel. So I just throw myself into places and I figure it out and I meet new people and I was able to get by. But thankfully, I had some amazing colleagues, some amazing employees and coworkers that were just there by my side to help me, like insurance. And I broke my foot day 2.
On one of the 2 suitcases?
No, crossing the street. Be careful, guys. There's buses, trams, trains, bikes, all kinds of stuff. Well, that's a whole nother story, BLAYNE.
Oh my gosh.
So just like helping me navigate through the system and, you know, setting everything up. I had people there that were really there to hold my hand and support me, and it was like a family. So that really helped me to feel comfortable in staying here. So yeah, and then just, I don't know, like me, I love to walk. There's a lot of countryside. There's the pressures of life. Getting out of New York was completely different.
Mhm.
It really was like a breath of fresh air. And I've noticed that I had a lot of my anxiety dissipate. So for me, it was like, okay, I'm not ready to go back to New York yet because I'm feeling myself kind of level out. I feel a little bit at ease here. The pressures of work, it's not the same in Europe as you would have in the States, right? So, and then just seeing a lot of people, they work is there to support their home life, which is completely different from the New York mindset where we're like hustling and bustling. We got 3-4 jobs, you know, like always go, 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 go. Yeah, that's not here, right? And I'm not saying you can't get that in certain parts of New York, but, or in, even in the States, but for me, this just felt like what I needed at the time.
You're right about New York. We're always on the go. We're like always doing stuff. And it is this like, as soon as you leave New York, you just feel, you can go to New Jersey and you just kind of feel like, oh my gosh, I'm okay. You know, and for those of you that are watching that don't know, New York and New Jersey, they're not that far from each other, but there definitely is this hustle and bustle to it. And I feel like, I walk fast, and I realize that I walk fast because I'm always going somewhere. I'm like, I gotta get here. I gotta go. Let's go do this. So, you know, on vacations and outside of New York, like I still have that like, let's go mentality. You have to stop and kind of take everything in.
Let's talk about that walking fast thing. I have family members that are constantly like, slow down, where are you in a rush to? And it's like, I'm not rushing. This is my off walk, right?
Yeah.
My off walk. So yeah.
It's like it's a New York thing, I feel like.
It's definitely a New York thing. Definitely. Like even just in the airports, when I have hours and hours to spare, just to walk to my gate, I'm rushing it, you know? It's like, I really need to slow it down sometimes.
It's something for us being from New York.
Exactly.
So you went to the Netherlands, and it sounds like it started out really great, which is awesome because it's a lot to leave where you're from to then go permanently live somewhere else. But what kind of happened when you were over there? You had your corporate job, you had your beautiful streets and tree-lined blocks, it sounds like. But then you
fresh
kind of
market food, yes.
Yes, you had all of it. You had people that spoke English so they can talk to you. But then you kind of felt like there's more to life than just working at my corporate job. There's stuff that I like as a person. There's interests and hobbies that I have. That's kind of how this brand came about, sort of.
Absolutely. Actually, it came about through my self-love journey, for myself. So when I moved to the Netherlands, I was also married. And at the time that I got married, I was still living in New York and my husband was abroad. So when we both moved to the Netherlands, this was our first time living together. So, we are a couple coming together in a new country. I had a new job. He, trying to find his footing as well, right? And then, the pandemic hits, and it just put me in a different perspective, if I'm being completely honest. I recognized that I was not happy, and I was not happy for a very long time. And I knew I wasn't happy, but you have this mentality where I grew up around, the mentality of like, keep going, keep pushing, keep trying. And especially when you're in a marriage, you don't anticipate to walk away or leave that marriage, or, you just keep going, pushing. And I just kept asking myself, like, what is wrong with me? Like, it was to the point where I just didn't have the energy, the excitement. I didn't do anything that I used to do and love. And I honestly woke up one morning, I didn't recognize myself. I didn't recognize myself at all. I drastically changed in a matter of just a couple of years. And so I just embarked on a self-love journey, which was very difficult for me to like take time and focus on myself, and, you know, the areas where I needed to work on, address the fact that I deal with anxiety, address the fact that I dealt with depression, address the fact that I even deal with eating disorders. Like, it took me a long time to just like really try to work on the things that I needed to work on about myself, and just come to just be honest with myself. But also in that, learn to forgive myself, learn to heal, learn to put myself first, and learn to be my true authentic self, right? Not that I wasn't authentic before, but I just think the older and older you get, you tend to conform a little bit more to societal norms. And I used to be always just kind of go with my gut type of thing. And I don't know what happened in my life that changed it, but I silenced that. And you know, I ended up getting married and just living this life that was not me at all. And so when I started, you know, my self-love journey, it helped me realize, like, this ain't it, sis. This ain't it. This marriage ain't it. You know, this, you know, the type of, I wouldn't say the type of work, because I love my job, but like, long term, I just didn't see myself putting in another 20 years, you know, like I'm about 20 years out, a little over 20 years from retirement. And I just couldn't see myself doing corporate work for another 20 years, you know, working for some other company. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but that just wasn't my passion, right? That's not in my heart of hearts. And so I had to come to a point where it's like, look, I want to put myself back into my passion and find what makes me happy. And if I do that, maybe I can carve out a lane that can sustain me, right? Where I can build a life and sustain myself. So I'm still working my 9 to 5, and I do enjoy it, but it's not something that I see myself doing for another 20 years. And in my self-love process, I recognized too that I also needed to leave my marriage because it just wasn't healthy for me.
So number one, I think I think I told you this saying, it's like, and I'm probably messing it up, but it's like, you use your full-time job to fund your side hustle or something.
Yes.
And then there was another one. It's like, I don't have a dream job. I have a dream life, because people always ask, what's your dream job? But if you use your 9 to 5 to fund your dream life, then it kind of goes hand in hand. So keep that 9 to 5. Because we all need that 9 to 5 until you don't need it, right? But for now, we all hold on to that. And the second thing is, you know, big shout out to you for making a decision for yourself. Sometimes when we make decisions that are for ourselves, it seems selfish, and we know that the decision may hurt someone, and we know the decision may affect other people. But you're right. Sometimes it's something within you that you're just like, this is not me. This is not right. And I have to, you know, pull this plug. And I've told you, like, I left my relationship. I left my situation, and I kept thinking, this is not just me. This is like 3 lives that are being affected. It's me, my daughter, and her dad. And how is that gonna work? And you feel this guilt. But then you rebuild, and you still feel guilty. Like I still feel guilty.
I don't.
Yeah. No. I sometimes I do feel guilty, but I'm over for the most part. But sometimes I do feel like, did I do everything that I could have to try to make this work? And then I have to go over that. And I want to get to the point where I don't go over it, where I'm like, I did everything I could, you know, to try to make this situation be what I wanted it to be. So good for you for recognizing that. And then now kind of like bringing this new brand of live, laugh, learn, and lean in, which is everything that you just said rolled into one. So what exactly is that? We know we're going to live, we're going to laugh, we're going to learn, we're going to lean in, but what do those look like?
Right. So for me, I had to let go, right? I had to let go and just go through the journey and the experience. And a part of the reason why I stayed in my circumstances, because, you know, I felt like I didn't have control, right? And sometimes we need to let go of constantly always being in control. And I think the thing about life is sometimes we're so serious. Like, I don't know how everybody has their different upbringings, but to your point, people ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up, right? You got to go to school, you got to get good grades. We get all of these kind of like drilled in us, especially as women. We not only have to go to school and get good grades, we also have to hold ourselves in a particular way. We have to dress in a particular way. We have to talk in a particular way. Then on top of that, we got to be good moms, and we got to be good wives, and we got to raise our man. Like, hello, who can do that? That's just, it's not sustainable. It's not real. Okay. And then when we don't meet any one of those ticks, we then eat ourselves and beat ourselves up. Right. So the thing about life is funny. Things happen. We try to plan. And I was one of those people that I was like, at 30, I'm going to do this. At 35, it's going to be this. At 35, I had everything planned out. Everything was always planned out for myself. And nothing went according to plan. Or sometimes, my 2-year plan turned out to be a 10-year plan, right? So that's my whole thing. My whole thing is sometimes you just have to let go and lean in, right? But also to learn to laugh at our mistakes instead of, ruminating on what we could have done and beating ourselves up. Just laugh at who we were in the past, and just know that it's going to be okay and live. And through the pandemic, you hear people say all the time, life is never promised. Life is short. And it's true. Life is short. But things like the pandemic really put a lot of things in perspective for me, because it wasn't just, the high death rate and people passing away and dying. It was the isolation that killed me, and I'm in a whole other country, and the people that can hold me down, the people that keep me grounded, and the people that lift me up or build me up when I'm down, they're not in close proximity. I have to rely on electronics or technology to connect with them. And I'm a very physical touch person. So it was like, I wanted to pack a bag and go home and just curl up next to my mom. Like, this sucks, and I couldn't do that. And I had to figure out how to manage everything that I was feeling, the police brutality, the microaggressions, all of this stuff, happening at the same time, and you're stuck. You can't escape it. It's just in your face constantly. And then you just feel like, okay, what can I do? So for me, I called it Live, Laugh, Learn, and Lean In, because it's really about, all of these things. This is what makes our experiences in life, right? We can close ourselves off and not be afraid of taking risks. And what does your life look like, right? And it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to lean in and not know where it's going to take you. But that's what life is about. It's a journey. And the people that we're very much interested in, these are the people that have ups and downs and trials and tribulations. We're connected to them because we learn through all of that, right? And people who have this very robotic lifestyle are not so interested in their journey, right? Because what have they learned? So it's really just about learning. It's about me sharing, and it could develop to be something completely different. I don't know. I just started my journey, and I definitely know that I was compelled that I had to share. I had to share because I know somebody else is going through this, and they probably feel guilty talking about it with their family members. Or their family members just do not relate. I don't have that many people in my family that have had a divorce. I can count maybe 1 or 2 people, and those divorces were necessary. But like, I can't. Nobody in my family can relate to what I was going through. No.
I think it's also like a generational thing. It's like back in the day, like, and especially a cultural thing, like you just don't get divorced. You stay, whether you're happy or not, you just stay with the person. It's like taboo. But now as we're coming up, it's not that you go into a situation and you're like, I'm gonna go into this, and if it don't work out, we can always get a divorce. You don't fully go into it like that. You go in like, this is my forever, until you realize it's not your forever. And then you make these hard decisions. And there are people that feel how you feel. And I think it's great that you're here talking about this, because this is like the inception of this brand, and it can go so many different ways. So are you kind of looking to take your journey and sort of be the person that's coaching people to live, laugh, learn, and lean in? Or
I would love to.
How do you want it to go, you think, if you could kind of think about it?
Yeah, I'm hoping that, you know, people who follow me will help inspire me. I'm here to inspire others, but I'm hoping that I would be inspired to go in a particular way. So I would love to coach. So in my 9 to 5, I'm an HR professional. I do a lot of facilitating sessions and coaching. That is what I absolutely love. So if I can have that opportunity to do that in this capacity, that would be amazing, right? And then sharing a lot of my psychology background, what I went to school for, combining this, really helping women of color navigate through finding joy is amazing. It's amazing, right? So how do we break away from all of our societal norms, our generational norms, our cultural norms that make us not true to our authentic self? How do we maintain happiness and find purpose, but still being ourselves and still finding love with our family and having our loved ones embrace us for who we are? That's not easy. It sounds very cookie cutter, but it's not easy to navigate. And then also, how are you navigating in the world with others, right? So it's really all about women inspiration and empowerment, specifically women of color. To help them inspire. How do you find peace and joy? So now I want to help you to get to a place where you're also not feeling guilty about the decisions that you make for you and your family.
I feel, I gotta say, I feel guilty until like I see like, sometimes like I'll see an email and I'm like, oh, so I don't feel guilty because this email right here that you just sent tells me that I don't need to feel guilty. I need to actually come at you a certain way. So I feel guilty to a point, but then, you know, I sometimes unfortunately get snapped out of it. And that's always a work in progress. Because even though it feels like it's happened so long ago, it's still very new, like co-parenting or, you know, whatever these separate lives look like.
I can imagine.
It's still, it's still, and I mess up and I do stuff and I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have, you know, said that. But it's a learning process. But I think what's so great about your brand is, even though it's in the beginning phases, you already kind of have like 3 other brands under this that you're looking to launch eventually as well. So you have a lot going on with the self-love part, but then you have a lot going on with other things that other ideas that you have. So let's go into, I was going to say, let's go into hair, but let's go into wherever you want, because that's a part of it. But let's go into whatever you want to go into.
Well, it's one other brand. So through my self-love journey, right, I had to tap back into my passion. So I've always been very passionate about like DIY. So I was always that girl that would like try to figure out how to make stuff on my own. And for the past, I would say 10 to 12 years, I've been making my own hair and skin products, toothpaste as well, and deodorant, just for myself, right? Because for me, it was like, oh, you know, I don't really care for some of the products or the ingredients that they put in these products that I use. And it's so easy, like to me, it's so easy to make something natural. Now, my grandmother, rest her soul, I think she has like passed this within like our family, because it's not just me. We all have like this this natural talent of either like doing something with our hands or being extremely creative. My grandmother was always the type of woman that would like mix up something, right? So my grandmother's from Barbados, from the islands. So like if I had a sunburn, she would mix up aloe. She would like rip the aloe plant, mix up something and be like, put this on your burn. One time I was sick. I would never forget this. I'm telling you, I had the flu. This woman mixed up a cayenne pepper tea. When I tell you every part of me was burning. Within 2 hours, everything cleared out. Like, I mean, she just always had some like natural concoction, you know? So like, you know, you grow up around somebody like that and, you know, you open the cabinet, you're like, oh, I don't have, you know, such and such to make pancakes, or I don't have this, no problem. She'll find a substitution. Like she always knew how to make something out of nothing, right? So, you know, growing up around that, my mom was the same way. For me, it turned out in hair and skincare products, right? So I would make my own stuff. I would practice it. I would mess it up. I would do it over, just play with it and just kind of keep it in the fridge because it's all natural, right? And then some of my friends would be like, oh, send me something, you know, mix me something. So I would mix little something here and there. Now, during the pandemic, there was nothing but to do but go on Amazon and be like, all right, well, let me get my little products and mix up some stuff, get my mixing bowls. Let me just really do something. And then I started shipping it out. Like, here you go. Let me know if you like it. I'll tweak the formula. And my friends were like, girl, oh my gosh, you gotta sell this stuff. It smells so good. You gotta sell it. And I'm like, no, come on, you can make it. Let me show you. They're like, I don't want to make it. I don't want to make it.
I'm with them. I'm like, just send it to me.
I don't want to make it. Yeah, like just send it. I'm like, really? Okay. So I took it a little bit more seriously, and I met with a chemist. So I hired a chemist, and I said, look, pure natural products is extremely important to me. I'm not substituting anything but the best, right? So how do I stabilize my products without adding harmful additives and preservatives, right? So he helped me. We talked about all of the ingredients, what they do for your hair, what they do for your skin, the qualities, everything. And it took months, like just working with him and educating myself. And I'm like, me, out of all people, damn near failed out of chemistry. I was like, okay, you know, like mixing up the formulas and everything, and like making sure that even the smell comes from natural essential oils. Everything super important. But on top of that, I wanted the brand to be very eco-luxe. So what that means is very eco-conscious, right? So down to the ingredients, I want to make sure that they're sourced properly, that they're not, you know, sourced in a way that they're ruining the environment, down to the bottlings, like make sure that the bottles and the plastic that I'm using is not harmful, also can be recycled. All of these things are extremely important to me because, yes, I believe in natural hair care, but where would I even get my products if we're ruining the earth and we're ruining our forests and the places that we can forage these actual materials, right? So for me, making sure that I am conscious about the environment, that's extremely important to me. But I also don't want to water down my products either. So finding a factory to help make my products, I research to make sure that they don't waste water. I make sure that,
wow.
That's
super specific.
audit, very specific because it's important to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I want to make sure that if I say I'm an eco brand, I really truly am down to the color of the bottles, down to the eco brand, right? Everything has to live and breathe what I preach, right? So I don't want to say, oh yeah, I'm eco-friendly, blah, 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 and my bottles are ending up, in the oceans.
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to work for me at all, right? And I also don't want to pick a provider or a manufacturer to make my products when I know that they're probably not, following the local, I don't know, audit,
like labor
whatever,
laws,
right?
or
Right. Labor laws,
Mm-hmm.
audits, all of that was extremely important to me. So
We're not having
I have
5-year-olds making this stuff,
exactly.
like, yeah,
Can
you
you
gotta be,
imagine?
oh my gosh. You'd be like, I'm so eco-conscious and friendly. They're gonna be like, do you know that you have children making this? So you want to make sure that that's not what it is. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And the shea butter that I use, so my dad's from Ghana, so the shea butter that I use in my products will be sourced from Ghana. So I brought some back with me, and I mixed some skin products with it. So I am making a trip this year so that I can meet some local shea butter farmers and make sure that they're paid fair trade, darling. Okay, this is not about stealing from the motherland, because the land is with abundance of all type of amazing, like nature has provided us with everything we need to take care of our hair and our skin. Really and truly. And you have a lot of these companies going into the islands, into India, into Asia, into Africa, and they're taking these herbal, medicinal ingredients and flowers and things that have been around for centuries, and they're just taking it, right? They're not paying the local farmers the fair trade to farm the land and make sure that the land is farmed appropriately. So I am looking forward to meeting some shea butter farmers and, just getting a connect so that I can build a relationship and give back to the country rather than taken away. So all of these things are really, really important to me.
You are doing your homework.
Yes,
you're doing your research, your homework. That's what it sounds like. You crossing and off your T's and dotting your I's.
Absolutely. Because this is very important to me, right? So, and I care about what I put on my skin. I care about what I put on my face. And we trust these large companies, when they make your product and they say, oh, this is great for your skin. We trust that what we're putting on our skin is healthy. I can say wholeheartedly, I've done my research, and you can trust that what I put in the product, will be healthy for your skin, right? So, or your hair, right? You're not putting things in your hair that's going to dry it out, and you end up running back to get more of the product, right? The whole, right? So it's just more about educating as well. So not only am I providing a product, but I also want to educate you on like what shea butter really does for you, what hibiscus oil really does for you, where does it come from, the roots of it. So all of these things is again me like educating others, and I find a bit of joy in that.
Do you have a name for the line? I know you mentioned
I do.
You do. I don't know if you want to share it. You don't have to drop it yet, but you do have a name though. Okay.
Oh my gosh! Did we do an exclusive? But you gotta do the horns. Like
you can do. People do exclusives all the time. I know. I'm gonna add the music in.
Oh my gosh! Okay, are you ready for this?
I don't know, because you're making me nervous now. Because you're like,
I'm nervous.
Right, so
I'm nervous because I literally just opened up. I like held the Instagram page for it just today, like literally today, I was like, this is it. I'm doing it. I'm gonna put the name out there because I was so nervous. I was so freaking nervous. Okay, so can I tell you something funny? Okay, so finding a name is so freaking hard. Okay, because I thought I was like so creative, and I'm like, oh my god, this is it, and I'll go online and be like,
oh, somebody took it. Somebody had it already.
And I have like a book, I have a journal with just names of what I wanted to name the brands. And I was like, oh my God, you know, and I just kept going through everything. Like, does it speak to me? And like going online and looking at marketing courses, whatever. So the first one that I came up with was Exotive with the V at the end. So EXOTIV, right?
Okay.
And I was like, oh my God, it's
I've never heard of that. Yeah.
No, I made it up. You shouldn't have. Well, I thought I made up some other ones, but apparently they were already taken. But this one, I was like, oh my God, finally, right? It was available. This was after 100, okay?
Wow.
Over 100 different names I've tried. And then I was like, oh my God, this is it. Called my sister. I was like, girl, I got the name. I got the name. She was like, what is it? I was like, Exotic. And she was like, no.
She didn't like it, or it was taken? She just didn't like it.
Didn't like it.
She didn't like it. Okay.
She didn't like it. She was like, it just has this, you know, like erotic, exotic. It's too close. It's too. And I was like, girl, I wasn't even thinking of any of that. Like,
I thought it was good when you dropped it just now. I was like, oh, I've never heard of that before.
I thought so too.
So we crossed that one off.
I crossed it off. Okay. And I landed at Botanics Luxe. But Botanic is spelled BONTINQ. Luxe, LUXE.
Okay, Botanic.
Botanic. You pronounce it botanic, like botanical gardens, but it's spelled with a Q at the end.
Okay.
So I landed
is that it? Is that the one that we did?
That's it.
Okay. I didn't know if you were gonna be like, so I tried that one, and then my sister was like, "Didn't I tell you?" Okay, so that is it. That's gonna be.
No, I didn't even run it by her. I was like, that's it. You know, like
It crush your soul with whatever she says. You're like, no.
It definitely spoke to me, and I was like, this is it. And I think it challenged me a little bit, right? So my sister was like, well, you know, it's exciting. And I was able to let it go so quickly because, to be honest with you, I wasn't in love with it. I was just so happy it wasn't taken, right? So that's why I was easily kind of wavered. But with this one, really, Botanics Luxe, it was like, Luxe, this is it, right? Because this product is not just going to be any cheap product. It's going to have the best ingredients in it. It's going to be high quality. But also, you know, when you think of all of the ingredients I have in them, it's really botanical. Like, it's coming from plants. It's coming from oils. It's coming from oils derived from plants, trees, seeds, nuts, fruits. Like, it really, truly is, you know, a natural kind of botanic experience. So that's why it spoke to me a little bit more. So more to come. I literally just like walked in today.
Okay. So we have the exclusive name. We're not gonna follow you or anything until you put it out, and then you let us know if it's okay to, follow the page and everything. But that's what's up, Rita. I mean, and that's kind of why I wanted to have you on in the beginning stages when we first started talking, because we all kind of sometimes think of an idea or a concept and we're like, that sounds great, but I don't know if I could do that, or I don't have the time or whatever. And so what I'd like you to tell everyone is, for people that feel that way, because I've felt that way and you felt that way, and now you're just, one idea is sparking off all these other interests. What would you say to people that are like, I have an idea in my head and I think it's great, but no one will love it. I don't know if I can do this. What do you say to people? Because that's probably something that will come up with the Live, Laugh, Learn, and Lean In whole brand, people coming in and kind of telling you that.
Yeah. Honestly, I felt the same exact way. These are normal. And the thing is, therapy helped me get to this place, because I did a lot of work on myself. If I sat here and was like, girl, going through a divorce was easy, moving to another country was easy, breaking my foot on day 2 was easy, job was easy. No, it was not easy. I'm on the other side of it, right? So I can say, oh yeah, it's I'm in a good place, but tomorrow I can hit a block and be in a bad place. What I want people to know is that is okay. It's okay. And I think one of the things that blocked me was, I was like, well, I don't think I'll be good, and it's okay. So what if you're not good? It's not the end of the world. To your point, you can have a 9 to 5 and you can work on your craft on the side. And also, I reached out for help. That was my problem in the past. I didn't like for help. I didn't like to ask for help because I thought it was a sign of weakness. No, I got a brand coach. Shout out to Janelle Stewart. I got a brand coach, and I said, yeah, I'm going to do this, and I need you to hold me accountable and push me. And she did, right? So I'm not saying everybody has to go and pay for a coach, but you need to ask for help. And you need to know that your ideas are ideas, and you will never know if you can make it if you don't try. And my brother, he always used to say, my older brother, he's a New York, he is a New Yorker by heart. He always used to tell me, it's 100% no if you never try or if you never ask. Always used to tell, because I used to be like, oh, I don't know, I don't want to do. He's like, it's 100% no if you don't do it. What if you try it and you do it and you do good? And I'm like,
and it works.
It works.
Those older brothers, man, they say, and they don't even say a lot. They just say, like, I know when I feel down about stuff, about stuff that happened in my past relationship, my brother will be like, yo, you mad fly. Why you worry? You mad fly. And I'm like, I am fly, right?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
So those older brothers, they say like 1 or 2 sentences, and it's like, boom. So your older brother, what he said is absolutely right. And I thank you for sharing that with the audience, because I think that's so important. We all have this not all of us, but a lot of us sometimes have this self-doubt when it comes to taking our dreams and passions and putting it out to the public, because it's like, how will this be received? I think it's a good idea. I don't know if 10 other people will. And you took a chance on yourself, and that's like the best chance that you could take. Is on yourself.
We take chances with everything else. Why not take a chance on ourselves? And I started a business before. I started an LLC, and it failed. It failed miserably. But I'll tell you what, I gained business acumen from that, right? So to me, I was like, I learned something. Okay, I didn't make money off of this, but I learned how to run a business a little bit better. I learned a little bit more about taxes. I learned a little bit more about setting an LLC. I learned a lot. So yes, in our failures, it sucks. It doesn't come out the way we want, but you have to take stock of what you actually learned, and you realize it may not have come out in finances or money, but it comes out in knowledge. And knowledge you can always transfer into something else, right? If I know something that I can share, I can always build wealth off of that. Always. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to try. Don't be afraid to fall. Don't be afraid to fail. Just make sure you do your research. And when you get back up, you try it again. Or you re-strategize and you go at it again. And I would not have started any of these brands if I allowed my past failures to eat me up and eat me alive. Period. I wouldn't be here in this country. I wouldn't be talking to you. All these opportunities, it's crazy. And like when I started putting myself first, it was like the universe was like, okay, finally, we got you now. You know, like they've been trying to tell me this a while ago, right? So like now all these blessings are pouring in. I'm not even ready for half of them. I have to turn some of them down. I was like, I'm not ready. You know? And I beat myself up about that, but I was like, you know what? That's okay. I'm gonna be kinder to myself, right? And that's it. We're gonna get there. We'll be fine. We'll be fine.
We will figure it out. And I want to thank you for that. And I want to thank you for your words. And as we kind of start to wrap things up, I know it's hard to think about. I always hate the question, like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Because who knows? So I'm not even going to go that far down. But if you saw yourself in the next 6 months and I was like, Rita, come back on and let's talk and let's catch up on what's happening, catch viewers up. Where do you think live, laugh, learn, and lean in? Where do you think it will be the next time we talk? Let's say I'll give you 6 months. It might be shorter than that, but let's do 6 months.
Okay, 6 months. I would love for my Live, Laugh, Learn, Lean In brand to have a little bit more engagement. So I would like to do some events, some virtual events, some workshops. I want to engage a little bit more with everybody. I want to share stories. So I don't know what that would look like or translate to, but 6 months, I want to have a few events under my belt. And then hopefully in 6 months as well for Botanics Lux. Hopefully in 6 months, I would have at least a sample bottle. We can, engage with people to learn a little bit more about what they want their skin and hair goals to be and how healthy they want their hair to be and, getting some feedback. So love to see where I am in 6 months. It's a short time. 6 months will be here in like no time, but at least I know that I have some short-term goals in the interim.
Okay, well, we're gonna have to see because the very first live guest I had, which was in December, she just came back on last week, and it had been 6 months. So that's kind of where I came up with the 6 months because she had other changes happening. So we're here now. Let's see what happens in 6 months, and we'll have you back on and see if everything you said is what it is, or even better, which I'm sure it will be. So I want to thank you, but before I do my thank yous and shout outs, Rita, you give your thank yous and shout outs to anybody that you want to before we head out.
Oh my gosh, shout out time. First of all, I want to give a shout out to Kendra for just even making the connection. It was so dope, such a good connection. Thank you, BLAYNE, for even asking me to be on this platform. Shout out to you, girl. You're doing it. I love it. I also want to shout out to my sister for the challenge. I know she's probably going to hate me for saying that she hated the name, but sometimes you need people to be open and honest. Shout out to my brother who's constantly pushing me to just trust in my craft. Shout out to my family who's always got my back. Oh my gosh. More. Oh, shout out to Janelle, my brand coach. Woo, woo, woo. Follow her, Janelle B. Stewart. Gosh, and shout out to my local Dutch family here. Oh my gosh, I have like amazing people that like have my back and hold me down. I just want to give a shout out to Mirfat, who's constantly checking in on me when in my dark days. In my dark days when I was really going through it, just holding my head up. And to Daya, who's my new friend, she just keeps me happy and light, and we're just kind of going through the same journey together. So I hope I didn't forget anybody, but this is a little shout out, but I had to do it.
It's all good. And please let viewers know, where can they find you if they want to connect with you, they want to learn more about your brand, where should they be following you?
Follow me on Live, Laugh, Learn, Lean In on Instagram. I share so much of my life, stuff that I don't even want to share, and stuff that I'm not even used to sharing. I share everything. So join me, and I also, share tips and inspirational quotes. I do affirmations. I share those as well. So I think they're really important for us as women of color, as women, to make sure we're affirming ourselves and our strength. So follow me there. Come join my journey. Come share as well.
Thank you for that. So I'm going to have all this information in a post within the next couple days where people can follow you. But if you can't wait until then, again, the Instagram is Live, Laugh, Learn, and Lean. Is it A-N-D?
No. Just Live, Laugh, Learn, Lean In.
Okay. On Instagram.
Yes, on Instagram.
Okay. Well, I want to give a big, huge thank you shout out to you, Rita, for being here despite the time difference, for finding time with all the back and forth of when we're going to do this, to being here and being so open about what you're going through and sharing your story with the public. It's one thing to let your family know, it's one thing to let your friends know, but you're giving a piece of yourself to the public. And I just want to tell you and commend you that that's amazing, and keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing your reels. Keep up with your brand. I can't wait to see what happens with it in the next couple months, and everybody that is watching is going to go follow you. So number one. Two, of course, big shout out to Kendra for making the connection to be like, hey, I know you and I know Rita, and I think you all should connect. So big shout out to her for being the plug for that. And it's going to result in us all meeting up at some point this summer, sometime next month. And big shout out to, as you were talking about your products and what they're made of, I was thinking, big shout out to Rhea Roberts Johnson. Her company is Bia Soap Company. She was a guest on the show a couple weeks ago. She's one of my close college friends. Rhea also started making soaps that are made out of like natural oils, and she's been doing research on like where to get it from and what's good for your skin. And same thing like you, she's not a chemist, but she just tries stuff and
figure it out.
Yeah, she figures it out. So as you were talking, I was thinking about her. So I'll make a behind the scenes connection because you all have some similar stuff that you're doing. Yeah. So big shout out to Bia Soap Company. And because I mentioned her at the beginning of the show, big shout out to Phil Sonali, who is our first international guest. She's in Sweden. Her company is Play and Rewind. Her family is from, I think, Ethiopia, but she was born and raised in Sweden, but she also has like American ties. So she has like these 3 generations that she's working with. And so there's a lot of kids that live overseas who their parents are from another country. They were born in that country, but then they have ties to something else. So she makes videos and movies for these kids to have representation of themselves, because they don't get to see themselves and hear their stories play out. So big shout out to her. And because I thought about her in the beginning, because I'm like, oh, we had the same issue with the time difference with her, and I have to do it on like a Saturday morning. So big shout out to her. And to all of our viewers that are watching, thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you next week. You can connect with Rita on her Instagram. I'll have all that information coming soon. And thank you again so much, Rita.
Thank you.
Yes, just stay on for 1 second because we do like a quick talk back as Rodney ends us out now. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Bye, everyone.
Bye.